Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories. Gently close your eyes if you haven't already, and allow the edges of the day to soften and drift away. In this peaceful space, you've come to rest, to let your mind and body settle into a place of deep calm. Take a slow breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs like a comforting embrace, and then exhale softly, letting tension slip through your lips and dissolve into the quiet around you. Tonight, you will journey to a Polynesian paradise where soft ocean breezes whisper along glistening shores and the gentle strum of a ukulele accompanies the lull of turquoise waves. For now, simply let your breathing guide you deeper into comfort as you prepare to step into this dreamy realm of warm sands and calming tides. Take another calming breath. Feel the rhythm of your heart settling into a peaceful pattern, a gentle drum guiding you inward. Imagine that all the cares of the day begin to fade, drifting out with the tide. There is nothing to solve in this moment, nothing to fix or adjust. The only task before you is to float on the surface of relaxation, buoyed by the soothing promise of rest. If any lingering thoughts try to find you, let them ebb away like footprints washed clean from the shore. With each breath, your body becomes heavier, your mind lighter, as a soft wave of warmth flows over you from head to toe. Now allow the story to unfold like the hush of dawn over glimmering waters, a gentle adventure that carries you away without requiring any effort of your own. Far across a vast stretch of ocean, there stood an archipelago of emerald isles perched gracefully in shimmering blue waters. One of these islands, ringed by swaying palm trees and pure white beaches, was home to a small village nestled along a tranquil lagoon. This lagoon's waters sparkled with the greens and blues of precious stones, reflecting the wide sky overhead. A gentle breeze always seemed to linger, dancing through the branches of coconut palms and brushing over the rippling surface of the sea. Even the mountains beyond, softly sculpted by time, breathed with a slow, ancient rhythm, as though they too slumbered in a deep and unbroken peace. Living in a little bamboo hut near the shoreline, Leilani woke to the faint hum of dawn each morning. Before the sun rose over the horizon, she would step outside onto the cool sand and watch as the night's deep indigo lifted into the first pastel glow of early day. She cherished this tranquil hour when the ocean whispered secrets in hushed waves, and the morning breeze carried the faint fragrance of hibiscus drifting from the hills. Her bare feet left gentle impressions in the sand, trailing back to her home. The hush of the world around her was like the lullaby of an old friend, and in that quiet, her breathing matched the soothing pulse of the tide. Leilani's days followed a simple rhythm, rising with a gentle light, greeting the sun with a grateful heart, tending to small tasks in the village, and then pausing to observe the world's soft wonders. The village itself was a cluster of bamboo and thatched dwellings, each one adorned with bright flowers or carefully carved motifs that told stories of the island's heritage. The people went about their routines calmly, never in a hurry, often sharing fresh fruit and warm smiles with one another. Even the children played quietly, delighting in the soft sand and the gentle waves, building small huts of their own from driftwood and shells, or racing through the shallows with giggles that floated on the breeze. A short walk from her home, and just beyond a stand of slender palm trees, there was a hidden cove where a small waterfall cascaded gently into a pool. The water, fed by a mountain spring, was cool and as clear as glass. Sunbeams slipped through the fronds overhead, creating dancing patterns of light on the water's surface. On certain mornings, Leilani would wander to this secret oasis to bathe in the crisp water and let its refreshing energy waken her senses. She loved to dip her fingers into the pool and watch curious fish dart about. Above her, birds with vibrant plumage perched among the leaves, sometimes releasing melodic calls that seemed to reverberate with the spirit of the island. In these moments, time stretched and slowed, as if there was nothing else beyond the serenity of that sunlit cove. Returning to the village, Leilani would often stop by a small open-air marketplace where neighbors set out woven baskets filled with papayas, mangoes, bananas, and coconuts. One of the older women in the village, Auntie Kiana, always greeted Leilani with a gentle laugh, pressing a ripe piece of fruit into her hand and urging her to eat. The sweet flavor, tinged with a soft floral note, filled Leilani's senses with happiness. It was these simple moments that underscored the quiet harmony of this place, an unspoken bond between land and people, where everything needed for comfort was offered by the island's generous heart. Most afternoons the tide sat low, revealing smooth, mossy rocks near the lagoon's entrance. Tiny crabs scampered across their surfaces, and the water lapped softly as if content to stay forever in that sheltered bay. Leilani would walk along the shore, trailing her fingertips in the gentle waves. She found driftwood and shells, worn smooth by the sea, each one telling a story of distant lands and long journeys across the ocean. The wind, shifting directions through the day, would sometimes carry the faint notes of a ukulele from somewhere across the island. The warm strumming seemed to mingle with the hush of the surf, and together they created a lullaby for all who cared to listen. Leilani often followed that sound to a small clearing shaded by a cluster of palm trees. There, under the dappled sunlight, a kind older villager named Maka sat cross-legged on a woven mat, cradling a beautifully carved ukulele. He would tune each string with meticulous care, testing their delicate vibrations against the soft air. Then he played melodies that drifted upward like coconut smoke, sweet and lingering. As curious as she was, Leilani never wanted to disturb the peace Maka created, so she would settle herself a few steps away, swaying gently in time with the strums, letting the music carry her imagination out to sea. The chords were gentle and conjuring images of warm horizons, coral reefs, and a vast, comforting sky that blended smoothly into the ocean's surface. Maka always greeted her with a nod of acknowledgement, continuing to play in a relaxed manner that made it seem as though the ukulele was singing its own quiet lullaby. Sometimes, village children would wander over, mesmerized by the music, and sit nearby with half-closed eyes, lulled into daydreams of dancing dolphins or drifting canoes. On some occasions, Maka's granddaughter would hum along, her voice fragile as the soft wind weaving through tall grass. It was in these gentle gatherings, with little conversation and no grand event, that everyone felt a shared sense of wonder for the island's timeless enchantment. As evening approached, the island would glow with a different kind of light, a gentle gold that skimmed across the water and painted the village in warmth. When the sky turned softer hues, the villagers would gather for a simple meal. They often sat on mats near the shore, listening to the ocean's quiet hush while they enjoyed plates of fresh fish, taro, and tropical fruit. The laughter was never loud. It rolled like the tide, a subdued but joyful note in the gentle hum of twilight. Overhead, the clouds took on shades of rose, peach, and lavender, drifting slowly as if reluctant to leave this place of serenity. Leilani felt at home in these twilight hours, gazing out at the horizon where day and night met in a seamless blend of color and shadow. Sometimes, after the meal, she would wander along the beach, pausing to watch the stars appear. With each breath, she felt the day's energy ease away, replaced by a comforting stillness that settled in every corner of her being. The ocean breeze, soft and filled with the fragrance of salt and distant blossoms, brushed against her skin as she strolled. The rhythm of the waves was steady and low, a quiet hush that seemed to remind every soul on the island to slow down and reflect. In that hush, one could sense the heartbeat of the world, an ancient and enduring pulse that rose and fell with the tides. On one particular evening, as the moon began to rise, Leilani made her way to the far side of the lagoon, where a cluster of rocks formed a natural stage. Local musicians sometimes gathered there to practice or simply to revel in the moonlit calm. The moon appeared immense and golden, casting a gentle glow over the water. Wisps of clouds drifted by, revealing star after star in the expansive sky. Few villagers arranged themselves on the rocks, holding gentle percussion instruments, small drums, and of course ukuleles. They began to play a soft, undulating tune, the music floating across the lagoon like a message of peace to all who listened. Leilani took a seat on a smooth stone, letting the notes wash over her. In that moment, she felt as though she could slip into the ocean and float, cradled by the moon's reflection on the surface, accompanied by the heartfelt, unhurried melody. The next day dawned with a soft pastel sunrise, illuminating the calm waters of the lagoon with pink and lavender streaks. The air was fresh, bearing the fragrance of hibiscus, and the faintest hint of jasmine. After her usual early stroll, Leilani decided to explore a hidden beach on the far side of the island, a place she hadn't visited for some time. She followed a narrow path through lush greenery where ferns and bright blossoms grew in a carefree tangle. The path was lined with volcanic rocks covered in velvety moss. Tiny lizards darted out of her way, disappearing under broad leaves. Occasionally she paused to admire the view through the trees, a panorama of rolling hillsides descending toward the ocean, their ridges softened by dense vegetation that gleamed under the rising sun. As she neared her destination, the sound of rolling waves became clearer, and the scent of salt air thickened. Stepping around a final bend, she was greeted by a secluded crescent of sand, gleaming ivory under the morning light. The ocean spread out in shades of turquoise and teal, so clear she could see the sandy bottom near shore and the darker, mysterious depths beyond the reef. A gentle breeze lifted her hair and brought a few strands across her face, and she smiled as she breathed in the comforting smell of the sea. It was as if every particle of the island was designed to soothe and delight, to evoke gratitude for life's purest experiences. Finding a smooth piece of driftwood, Leilani sat down and closed her eyes, letting the sun's warmth sink into her skin. She could feel her heart match the gentle tempo of the tide, each wave a cleansing breath, each retreat a release of anything that might weigh heavy on the spirit. Minutes passed without any measure of time, just an awareness of how serene the world seemed. A small flock of seabirds glided overhead, and every so often their soft calls mingled with the hush of water meeting sand. In that sanctuary, it felt as if the day had opened a secret portal where only peace and reflection existed, unbroken by worry. When midday arrived, the sun climbed high, brightening the sky into a rich tropical blue. Leilani rose and wandered toward the shallows, rolling up the legs of her trousers so she could step into the cool water. Tiny fish darted around her ankles, shimmering like silver slivers of sunlight. The soft ocean floor gave under her feet, and she felt a gentle pull of the current swirling around her calves. As she waded deeper, the water lapped against her knees, and she laughed quietly at the playful sensation of the tide. Farther out, coral reefs formed a protective barrier around the island, their colors vibrant and alive beneath the surface, sheltering an abundance of marine life that thrived in these tepid waters. In the warmth of the early afternoon, she decided to head back to the village, knowing that soon the daily life around the lagoon would pick up its gentle hum once more. On her way, she passed under tall palms that swayed in unison, their fronds whispering with each shift of the breeze. Occasionally, a ripe coconut would drop with a soft thud into the sand, as if offering itself to any passerby who might need refreshment. Birds flitted from branch to branch, some with feathers the color of ripe mangoes, others with brilliant blues and reds that rivaled the most vivid tropical flowers. All around her, the island seemed engaged in a leisurely dance, a ballet of subtle motion and harmonious sound. Back at the village, she found Auntie Kiana and a few others gathered under a wide umbrella of dried palm leaves, weaving baskets from pandanus leaves. The rustle of weaving material joined with their light chatter. Each basket took shape slowly, methodically, as the weavers took pride in every careful fold and knot. They invited Leilani to sit, offering her a cup of cool coconut water. She accepted with a grateful smile, sipping its sweetness, while the conversation meandered through stories of the day's fishing, the promise of an upcoming celebration, and the changing patterns of the weather. Though nothing urgent transpired, every small detail felt like a gentle tapestry that bound the community together. As the sun began its descent, casting golden rays that softened the world around the village, she wandered once again to the shore. There, the ocean and sky met in a haze of pastel glory, the horizon dissolving into a shimmering line of amber and pink. The water stretched out endlessly, carrying with it the gentle pulse of the day's final hours. Sitting on a small wooden dock, legs dangling over the edge, Leilani watched as the colors shifted, deepening into richer purples and oranges. She breathed in the evening air, heavy with the comforting aroma of cooked taro and grilled fish drifting from nearby huts. Few villagers, returning from their day's labors, nodded in her direction, adding a word or two of kindly greeting before slipping away to their homes. Night came with a hush that only accentuated the other soft sounds of the island, the swish of palm fronds, the distant call of nocturnal birds, the subdued tapping of a drum that someone practiced far off. The sky overhead began to fill with stars, each one shimmering with a delicate glow. A gentle moonlight bathed the shore, illuminating the foam at the crest of each wave. Fireflies occasionally blinked among the hibiscus plants, tiny sparks dancing through the darkness. Everything felt at ease, as if the entire island had prepared itself for a deep, restorative sleep, continuing a natural cycle that had existed for generations. Over the next days, the ocean's tides rose and fell in their predictable, comforting dance, and gentle rains visited the island in refreshing bursts. Leilani enjoyed each subtle change, thankful for the cleansing showers that left the world sparkling and new once the sun returned. She spent her morning sipping tea infused with hibiscus petals, marveling at the way the air seemed fresher than it had been the day before, and how the land exhaled sweet aromas of damp earth and blossoming flora. The lullaby of raindrops on broad leaves became another layer of calm, blending with the ever-present voice of the ocean. Every so often she would join Maka under the palms in the late afternoon, listening once more to the soothing melody of the ukulele. He seemed ageless, his eyes reflecting a reservoir of peace. He would tell a story or two in his gentle voice, sharing memories of a time when the island was even more remote yet just as welcoming. His words carried the weight of years spent in harmony with the land, and his presence was a testament to a life lived with patience and gratitude. As he played, the notes formed a gentle current that carried worries away, leaving only stillness and contentment in their wake. On a particularly serene afternoon, a small gathering took place on the beach. Under a canopy made of palm leaves, villagers prepared a modest feast to honor the simple gift of community. Fresh flowers adorned a wooden table, and woven mats were spread across the sand. Leilani joined the preparations, helping slice juicy mangoes and sweet pineapple, arranging them in colorful patterns on broad banana leaves. Nearby, someone set a bowl of poi, while others wrapped fish in taro leaves, letting them steam over smoldering coals. The fragrance of smoky coconut husks blended with the sweet scent of tropical fruit, creating an aroma that was at once comforting and softly exotic. As twilight approached, the sky seemed painted by hand, with sweeping strokes of peach, gold, and lavender. The gathering of neighbors and friends formed a relaxed circle by lantern light. Barefoot children chased after the glow of fireflies, their laughter subdued yet filled with joy. A soft hum of conversation wove through the gentle hush of dusk. Plates were passed around and every bite was savored, not for hunger's sake alone, but for the collective sense of gratitude that permeated the air. People shared stories of daily wonders, an especially bright sunrise, a school of fish dancing near the reef, the memory of a beloved elder who once told tales under that very same canopy. In the mellow afterglow of the meal, the ukuleles emerged again, their notes weaving a tender lullaby in harmony with the whispering ocean. A few voices joined in quiet songs that spoke of the island's history, of voyages across open seas, of families reunited on warm shores. The music carried an unspoken wish for continued peace, for gentle tomorrows that followed in the footsteps of this tranquil day. Some closed their eyes, letting the melody guide them into a place of calm reflection, while others stared dreamily at the starry sky, the distant constellations shimmering like scattered pearls. Eventually, one by one, families and friends began to slip away into the night, returning to the comfort of their huts. Torches were extinguished, leaving only the moonlight and the soft sparkle of lanterns here and there. The waves continued their gentle lull, and the island embraced the hush of another slumbering night. A subtle breeze brushed against the sleeping huts, creating a soothing melody among the palm fronds. Even the stars seemed to pulse in time with the island's heartbeat. Far off, a lone owl hooted softly, as though reminding the world to rest. Over the following weeks, the gentle cycle of dawn to dusk continued in its unhurried dance. The lagoon's water stayed calm, the breezes light. In every shared smile, in every freshly picked piece of fruit, there was a sense of thankful contentment, the gift of easy living, free from hurry or strain. was the essence of this Polynesian paradise. Each day felt like a subtle variation on the same peaceful refrain, a gentle ebb and flow that invited all who dwelled there to match its forgiving tempo. Leilani's heart resonated with that rhythm, filled with a deep, unspoken gratitude for the serenity that blossomed in every part of her life. Whenever she drifted off to sleep, she felt surrounded by the memory of the day's soft music and the hush of the ocean. In that liminal space between wakefulness and dreams, her mind gently revisited images of palm fronds swaying, of smooth sand beneath her feet, and of moonlight shimmering across a lagoon that held only warmth and acceptance. Each quiet moment carried her further into a soothing realm where she felt anchored and protected, knowing that no matter how the winds of life might shift, the gentle spirit of the island would remain, ready to cradle her heart in its hushed embrace. Now, as you drift further into that comfort, let your own breath and heartbeat align with the slow rhythm of the waves. Feel the gentle sound of a distant ukulele echo in your mind, each chord washing away tension and enveloping you in a sense of pure calm. Picture the moonlight glimmering on the lagoon, the soft silhouettes of palm trees swaying like dancers in a relaxed sway, and the warm sand cradling your bare feet. Notice how each breath becomes smoother, each passing moment an invitation to journey deeper into the realm of restful sleep. The day's gentle images are all wrapped in a soft glow, fading into the quiet hush of night. There's nothing left to do, nothing you must hold on to. You are free to float in this peaceful space, cradled by the dreamlike softness of the Polynesian paradise that still lingers in your thoughts. Let every muscle loosen, every worry dissolve into the gentle ocean breeze. With each passing breath, you sink further and further into a tranquil slumber, guided by the lull of the waves and the soft strumming of a ukulele echoing in the distance. Now the shores of your mind grow quiet, like an island gone still in the deepest part of the night. Stars twinkle overhead, and a faint whisper of wind carries you along. You can let go, trusting in the calm that enfolds you. Know that you are safe, cherished, and at ease. This moment invites you to surrender to the softness of sleep, where dreams can shimmer like moonlight on rippling water, gentle and serene. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well